Hi, I'm Zane Clements from Zanet Design, and I help small businesses like yourself make amazing websites on the internet. So how can I help you today? Well, the way I'm going to help you today is I'm going to look at how colour can impact your branding, your design, and how people view your website. Now, we've looked at a series of various colours, and one of the colours that perhaps most people don't use is white. And there's a good reason for that, because white just doesn't work. The majority of web pages are already white background. So if you then design in white, brand in white, have the primary colour as white on white, you've just got an invisible website. So how does it work? What can you do? Well, because no one else generally uses white, you can change your background colour. So if you had a black background and then you use white logos on it, then that's one way to deal with it. So here's a question for you. Do you think that changing the background so that you can use white as a predominant colour is a good idea or a bad idea? What do you think? Yes or no? Do you agree with it? Do you think it's a great idea having white as a predominant colour? Comment below and let me know what you think, because again, I can use this, I can feed this back, and it gives me an understanding of what small businesses and websites like yourself that are perhaps being managed and are looking to brand or rebrand. It gives me an opportunity to understand what my clients like you would like to be done. So white's a challenge really. When it comes to white, I don't use a white background. I generally use just off white. If we talk in terms of design, white is known as a hex colour in web design is FFF. In fact, it's 6 Fs if you go for the full amount on white, so 6 times F. Whereas I probably use FC, which is just a kind of very light grey version of white. And that just gives me a nice contrast, but it's not as stark as white. A lot more websites today, though, are turning to almost going the opposite and going to black. And that's where white will come in on its own. White will really stand out. So you may notice Google are doing some updates at the moment that are making a lot of their devices and their apps into black apps, black background. Apparently it saves energy, saves the battery as well. So there's some good reasons for why people are perhaps using white on black as opposed to black on white. So that's something to consider. So if you've used white, or if you think that white as a logo would work, then by all means, let me know in the comments below. Certainly when you look at white, it's very much used by Google and Apple in their devices. And white's a very clean colour. It's classy. It looks great. So they've used kind of very light greys and then having white contrasting with it. And what we've done here is we've got some white logos, but when you start contrasting them on grey, as you can probably see, or probably can't see, it just doesn't stand out. Now to help us here, we can go for the absolute contrast in reverse and show you what actually those logos were meant to look like. We've used this before when we were looking and discussing black, but really you can see that white just doesn't stand out enough. You have to invert it really for it to work when it comes to black as well. So Google, Apple, they've used white well. That gives a lot of white space, which is talking about room. It doesn't have to be white space, but it's talking about room as well. And it kind of, there's a real coolness about white, so it does work. But there are negative words that are associated with white. People might say it's sterile, it is cold, it is cool. It's isolation, maybe, is another word that's used when it comes to perhaps in a negative way using white in design. Having said that, because it isolates, it's fantastic for making something stand out. So you'll notice a lot of images on a white background. I mean, I love white here in my office. I use white because colour can then stand out when you have white as a kind of a background. So as a background colour, white is fantastic. As a main colour, a primary colour, it's a difficult one to deal with. But it is positive, it's clean, it's clear, it has a purity, a simplicity and a freshness that makes it all very positive if you do use white. So what type of businesses then would use white when it comes to their web design? Think about your business. What colour would fit in? Would your business fit in with white? I've used white before on a few various sporting sites because they had colours as background, strong colours already. So white works well as a contrast to a strong background colour. But it could be a furniture store, it could be photography, because black and white or weddings, they use black and white a lot when it comes to photography at weddings and when it comes to just a photographic company. So black and white together would work well. Weddings, chauffeurs, they would be good. Watch companies can work well with white. Technologies, as we've seen with Google and Apple, use white. Even just perhaps sports, wine cellars, movies. Again, we know that white can be used in various ways there. So what white does, it kind of breaks a lot of the trends. It's saying I'm not the same as everyone else because it uses probably a different background colour. So I'll be interested to know, again, whether you use white as a background or not, whether you think it's a great idea to use white for branding and have a totally different colour background. Have you done that successfully for your business? Let me know. Put a link down below in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, because the idea of these videos is to help you and your business to grow, to be cool, and to look great when it comes to your website and your website design. So I'm Zane from Zanet Design, and thank you for listening.